All right, good morning, traders. It's the December 15th, 2025. Coach Carignan here. Uh, Today, I want to thank everybody out there in podcast land, digital land, cyber land. Thank you for following and liking my content, subscribing to my content. Special shout out to John Jordan, Bob Jordan, Kathy, Sarah Roasted for sharing the content. Appreciate that. Love that. Thank you so much. All right, let's take a look at today's market. See what happened on Friday. See what we can do to set ourselves up with an advantage or an edge this morning. My SPY pivot 685. Above it, I'm a bull. Below it, I'm a bear. Currently, SPY in the pre-market trading right at or right around 685. Very close. IWM, Diamond Dow, SLV all made new all-time highs on Friday. Gold made a higher high and a higher low, closing over a bullish trap over the 17 EMA. FNGU and QQQ made lower highs and lower lows, closing underneath bearish crosses and underneath the 17 EMA. SPY closed with a 2-hour downtrend, a 10-minute downtrend, and a lower high and a lower low and under the 17 EMA. So on the daily chart. USO in a daily downtrend made an inside day. That's a lower high and a higher low, closing under a bearish trap under the 17. UNG in a daily downtrend as well, made a lower high and a lower low, closing under a bearish trap under the 17. US dollar index in a downtrend, closed near the 98.40 area. SPY max pain 683 for today. And that's for the puts and calls that expired today, with a put to call ratio of about less than one put for each call that expires today at 4:15. The main economic event this week, I believe, is going to be the CPI, which is going to be released on Thursday, I think around 8 o'clock. 8:30 on Thursday the 18th. All right, if this is your first time listening, all of these over here are in daily downtrends underneath 17 are in daily uptrends over the 17 EMA. These are in daily uptrends over the 17 EMA. If they got a little star, they're putting in a bull flag or a launch pad from which to launch higher. These are all in daily downtrends. These ones, okay? It's daily downtrends under the 17 EMA. These are in uptrends over the 17 EMA. If they got a little star next to it, they're putting in a platform or a bear flag from which to dip lower. All right, so daily uptrends over the 17, daily downtrends under the 17. Let's take a look at the market this morning. Oh, yeah, so my max risk for today, going to be 65.89, my daily goal, 659, my trading account, 65.888. All right, let's take a look at the market. Let's take a look at the SPY game plan. All right, so here's yesterday's high, Friday's high. So we have a green erases red entry up over 689.25. The pivot 685. Okay, so up over 689.25, we have a green erases red entry. Above 685, I'm a bull. Below it, I'm a bear. Red erases green. Underneath 680.50. Okay, so if I have a downtrend underneath 680.50, I'd be highly interested in entering that to the downside. I like 4 days till expiration and 11 days till expiration. Friday options on the multiple of 5, specifically for the open interest. Okay, more open interest equals higher liquidity and typically equates to higher bid-ask spread. I like strikes that are $2 to $15 out of the money. They're cheaper. They offer a little bit less risk, all right, because you're that much closer to zero. I trade 10-minute uptrends over VWAP. I like 10-minute downtrends under VWAP, okay? So if a 10-minute uptrend were to manifest down here, long before the green erases red entry, All right, I would be highly interested in trading it if it broke the 10-minute bullish rubber band candle. If a 10-minute downtrend were to manifest up here, or even here, long before it gets to the red erases green entry, I'd be highly interested in trading it as long as it broke the bearish 10-minute rubber band candle. So there's our SPY game plan. Let's take a look at QQQ. Got the same thing going on. We've got a game plan for them as well. All right, QQQ, green erases red over 625.70. Let me edit that just a minute. I don't know how it got moved. Okay, over 625.70 is a green erases red entry. Pivot, 618.75. Above it, I'm a bull. Below it, I'm a bear. Red erases green. Underneath, 612.50. Okay, again, I trade strikes. I trade options that are 4 days and 11 days till expiration. Friday options on the multiple of 5 because they got more open interest. Again, more open interest equals higher liquidity. I like strikes that are $2 to $15 out of the money, specifically for the low price point, and they offer less risk, and it's easier to get in and out because they have a smaller price point right there. I like 10 minutes uptrends over VWAP. I like 10-minute downtrends under VWAP. Again, if a 10-minute uptrend were to manifest down here, I'd be interested in trading it just like SPY, as long as it broke the 10-minute bullish rubber band candle. Same with the 10-minute downtrends. I'd be interested in trading those as long as it broke the bearish 10-minute rubber band candle. So there's QQQ. All right, let's go back to SPY just for a minute here. Let's look at yesterday's price action. Okay, on the 10-minute, you can see the 3 and the candlesticks were underneath the 8 EMA. So the 3 is this thin yellow line right here, which tracks the candlesticks quite closely. And you can see that's the 3 EMA. You got the 3 is underneath the 8. So we have a 10-minute downtrend coming into the close, or a 10-minute bear flag consolidation coming into the close on the 10-minute chart. Got back to the 10-minute, possible higher low or failure to place to make a significant lower low. So you can see price is kind of gapped up this morning. We got some consolidation over prior consolidation. That's on the 10-minute chart. All right, on the 2-hour chart, we've got 2-hour. You can see the candlesticks and the 3 EMA are underneath the 8. Okay, so we have and they're pointed down. So we have a 2-hour downtrend coming into the close on Friday. On the daily chart, we have a lower high, a lower low. We closed underneath a bullish trap, but over the 17 EMA, that's the green dots, okay, and over the all-time high anchored VWAP, okay, so we're still in this bull flag, all right. If you look at the price action kind of closely here, let's take a look at it on the 1-hour chart. Looks like we got kind of expanding volatility. You can see price action is kind of moved like up that way and then down this way. Okay, so we'll see what happens. All right, got expanding volatility there on the SPY on the 1-hour chart. You can see it going up, coming back down. All right, so I'm looking for price to come all the way back up, test the top line sometime today or tomorrow. We'll see. Either that or they're going to fall out. We'll see what happens here. So there's SPY on back to the daily chart. Again, lower high, lower low, closing under the bullish trap, but over the 17, over the all-time high anchored VWAP, still in the bull flag, top of quadrant 4. Okay, this is April low, top of quadrant 4, that's bullish, and still in an uptrend on SPY. Okay, let's take a look at QQQ. QQQ, start with the 10-minute. 10-minute bearish consolidation. 10-minute downtrend coming into the close. Possible failure to make a significant lower low. You can see price gapping up this morning, testing the highs of this peak in between these two lows. So there's QQQ on the 10-minute. 10-minute downtrend coming into the close on Friday. 2 hour, you can see the candlesticks in the 3 EMA pointed down. Again, we've got a 2 hour downtrend. You get the 3 is underneath the 8, 3 the 8, and the candlesticks underneath the 17. So 2 hour downtrend coming into the close on Friday for QQQ. Daily chart, lower high, lower low, closing under a bearish cross, underneath the 17 EMA, and underneath the all-time high anchored VWAP. Still in the bull flag. You want it to remain in the upper third, okay? So we're still hanging on to the upper third right there, all right, on our bull flag. So that's still bullish, okay? Here's our April low up here at the top of quadrant 4, or near the top third of quadrant 4. That's bullish and still in an uptrend on QQQ. Nothing's broken yet. Okay, let's take a look at FNGU. All right, FNGU puts in, spread this out. Okay, we got a lower high, a lower low as compared to yesterday's or Thursday's candle. Okay, we're closing underneath a bearish cross. You can see the 3 cross from up above, down underneath the 8 EMA. So that's the 3 EMA crossing underneath the 8 EMA. So we got a bearish cross. Okay, and you can see price, lower high, lower low, gap down. All right, obviously we never filled gap yesterday. Not good for the bulls. Okay, and we traded under the all-time high anchored VWAP. Okay, when it comes to quadrant lines, you can see right here we are just barely hanging on to the upper third. All right, so here's our April low. Okay, this is quadrant 4 up here, right on the green line. So hanging on to the upper third. That's still bullish, just barely. All right, but in a downtrend, they have a low. They made a lower low. So FNGU in a downtrend. Now you look at FNGU. They're below the midpoint. See that on that last high? They need to recover today. Failure to recover, and we could see significant melt-off into the end of the year. So there's FNGU on the daily chart. All right, in a downtrend, but still bullish up there at the top of quadrant, or not top of quadrant 4, but in the upper third of the quad lines. All right, so we'll see where we go with that today. So that's FNGU. Again, this would be the major support. Not liking the idea of price closing below the major support. That's not good for FNGU. It's not good for SPY or QQQ. Hopefully they are recovering somewhat today. Doesn't even look like they're made any headway at all. So that's FNGU. Let's take a look at QQQ. No, let's take a look at IWM. So here's IWM, new all-time high for IWM. Okay, doesn't get any better than that. Okay, so that's bullish and in an uptrend. Diamond Dow. Okay, new all-time high for Diamond Dow. That's bullish and in an uptrend. Let's take a look at silver. New all-time high for silver. That's bullish and in an uptrend. Let's take a look at GLD. Here's gold. Higher low, higher high, closing over a bullish trap. Over the 17, over the all-time high anchored VWAP. That's top of quadrant 4. That's bullish and in an uptrend. Let's take a look at UNG. UNG, here's Friday's candle, lower high, lower low, closing underneath a bearish trap, underneath the 17 EMA. You can see we're down here almost in the lower third of quadrant 1. This is bearish and in a downtrend again on UNG and underneath that 2025 high anchored VWAP. Energy taking it on the chin this year in 2025, especially nat gas and crude oil. Uranium, not so much, but I'm going to tell you, nat gas and Petroleum really getting hammered this year. Let's take a look at USO. All right, USO's got this inside day. It's a lower high, a higher low, closing under a bearish trap under the 17 EMA. It's getting pinched. Got an uptrend line, got a downtrend line. You can see we're back at the uptrend line right here. Price action in a downtrend. They made a lower low, so they're in a downtrend. Almost ready to break into the lower third. Okay, you can see this would be quadrant 4, 3, 2, 1 down here. Again, they're almost ready to break in that lower third, become bearish. Currently, just hanging on by a thread. Neutral, but in a downtrend on USO. All right, let's take a look at our technicals. T2101, price moved down yesterday in SPY, and participation kind of stayed even. A little bit kind of like creeped up a little bit, but not much. So that's, I guess that's fair to say that that's not a bad sign. That didn't creep up a whole lot, being since SPY did sell off from one side of the expanding volatility clear down to the other side of the expanding volatility. This is T2101, measures market breadth, aka participation in the market. Let's take a look at T2102. All in all, not bad. I kind of expected to be in the sell zone or the oversold zone. You can see price action mainly just chomped around on Friday between the buy zone and the buyer's chop zone. Lower highs and lower lows, but nonetheless, not as bad as I thought it would be. Take a look at T2123. Okay, this is beautiful right here. Bullish gap up. Bears never filled the gap. Higher lows right through here. So we still got an uptrend on the 15-minute chart. Up over the 200 SMA. That's bullish. Okay, bullish gap up. Never filled by the bears. Another bullish clue. We're moving up and bull flagging over to the right. That is bullish as well. Let's take a look at the 3-bar chart. 3-bar chart now on top of the flat 200 SMA. I'm a bull, so that's where I want to be. We've got a high here. We made a higher high. We got a high here, and I gotta say we're up over that too on Friday. So that's bullish, and in an uptrend finally on the 3-bar chart. Okay, let's take a look at. Let's go back to the 3-bar chart. Let's go take a look at FNGU. This is the stinker right here, and we'll look at the FNGU on the 15-minute. So here's FNGU underneath the red line. That's 200 SMA. Underneath the major support. Okay, that's the big thick green line right here. Underneath the all-time high anchored VWAP. That's the pink line right here, the thick pink line. So you can see price action not looking good, kind of falling apart here. We need some bulls to come in and rescue this. Otherwise, probably coming back down here to test those lows. Break through those lows, all right, and the market could be falling apart, being since this is the big caps that jerk those two indexes around, and I'm speaking about SPY and QQQ. So there's FNGU 15-minute, not liking it all. We had a nice bull flag. We lost the bull flag. We're now underneath major support, all-time high anchored VWAP, and the 15-minute 200 SMA, and we're in a downtrend. Okay, so not liking this at all. Okay, so there's FNGU on the 15. Let's take a look at the economic package. Start off with the dollar. Okay, here's the dollar. This is the 2025 high, moving down and in a bear flag over to the right here. Currently, U.S. dollar in a downtrend. There's a low right here. Okay, we made equal highs. There's a low. We made a lower low, so that puts us in a downtrend, and a lower high and a lower low. So that's a downtrend on the U.S. dollar. Earnings reports for this Monday. Make sure I got Monday. Okay, A lot of them here just can't find the P&L, and they're not quite ready to report. Again, familiar names, but nothing that's going to move the markets. Monday, Tuesday, we've got a lot of familiar names, but nothing that's going to move the markets. Wednesday, we've got Micron Technologies. They're going to report in the evening, $270 billion. And again, more familiar names, nothing that's going to move the markets. Thursday, we've got Accenture, $178 billion. Again, more names, nothing that's really going to move the markets. You got Nike, Cintas. Friday, what do we got here? Again, more familiar names, but nothing that's going to move the markets. Really, Micron's probably the headliner here for the earnings this week. Everybody else is just, just familiar names. Nothing there that's going to really move the markets. Main event on the economic calendar is going to be CPI. That's going to come out at 8:30 on Thursday, December 18th. For economic events this morning, we got the Empire State Manufacturing Index at 8:30, Housing Market Index at 10 o'clock, and that's it for today. For tomorrow, we've got the employment situation. That could be a market mover. Definitely could be a market mover at 8:30 tomorrow. Okay, I didn't see that one. That's definitely a market mover. Employment situation. They are looking at, FOMC is looking at the employment situation regarding rate hikes and rate cuts and rate stabilization. Housing starts and permits, 8:30, as well as the employment situation tomorrow. Okay, there'll be some volatility around the employment situation, all right? I don't expect it to be bad. I think the economy's kind of trugging along quite nicely, really. There is a little bit of unemployment, but not much. All right, and we are. It's seasonal down here in the southern part of the USA, so a lot of seasonal northern people coming down for the warmer weather. Some snowbirds, so it's quite busy down here in Florida. Business inventories coming out at 10 o'clock, and that's it for tomorrow. But don't forget, employment situation at 8:30, definitely going to be a market mover, I believe. All right, so we'll see what happens with that. Wednesday, retail sales, 8:30 in the morning. That will be good. We'll see how Black Friday and Cyber Monday did. Business inventories come out at 10. Atlanta Fed business inflation expectations, 10 o'clock. Petroleum report at 10:30. And that's it for the rest of the day on Wednesday. And Thursday, we've got CPI at 8:30. That will be a headliner, as well as the jobless claims right here at 8:30, and Philly Fed Manufacturing Index at 8:30. Natural gas report at 10. And that'll be it right there. I'll cover Friday when we get closer to it. All right, traders, that's it. How are we going to trade the markets this morning? Let's take a look at them real quick here and see what we got. And we want that one right there. So we're going to come back over here. We're going to pick up the SPY. We're going to drill down to the 10. Okay. Actually, we'll pick up this one. No, we'll pick up that one. All right. So we got some expanding volatility there. Let's pick up this on the 10-minute chart. All right. And let's pick up, put the pre-market on there. Okay, so we've got consolidation over prior consolidation. Okay, and we took out this high. So in actuality, we failed to make a lower low, actually making a higher high, and we've now made a higher high on the 10-minute chart. Okay, so that's bullish. So that's price moving up and moving over to the right. Okay, I would look for a breakout on the top line up here. Okay, and I would look for a breakout to trade to the upside. All right, so I would look for a breakout, and I would trade that breakout to the upside. On the downside, okay, if we break this low right through here, right at 683.93, so basically 684, I would look for gap fill. So below 683, 690, 683.80. I would be looking for gap fill down here. Okay, so up above and down below. I would definitely mark off the first 15 minutes of trading and look for breakout on either one, maybe a retest, and then trade the retest out of there. Okay, so if it breaks down, retest, and then trade the retest down. Okay, if it breaks up, retest, and then starts to come back up again, trade the breakout to the upside. That's my plan for this morning. Okay, so look for breakouts and look for breakdowns. Right now, it's nice bullish consolidation. I'm leaning more towards the bulls. I plan on picking off the lows of the option candles. Okay, so I would be looking at 690 calls. All right, for today. So let's pull up some 690 calls. And I like to have them in my queue first thing. So I take one and I put a market order just for one. Okay, stick it in my queue. So I don't have to go looking for it. So I'm going to buy one of those at the market. You know what else? I'm going to buy one of the 688s as well. So I'll put a market order in for one of those as well. Okay, now on the downside, okay, so what I would be looking for me, you've got underneath 684, so definitely 680 puts. So I'm going to come down here, okay, to the puts on the 0 DTEs right here. Okay, and I'd be looking for some 680 puts right here. So I got one of those. So I'll put in a market order for a 680 put as well as a 678 put. Okay, so a 678 put on the 0 DTE. Okay, so I'll put one of those. Okay, so those are market orders. So I just want them in my queue so I don't have to go looking for them when it's time to trade them. Okay, that's the plan. All right, not that I will be trading one of them, either the puts or the calls, but I just want to be prepared for when price does break out of this range up here. And I like that bullish range, and I'm leaning more towards the bulls. So I'm looking at those 690 calls, looking to pick off the lows of those, and hopefully trade those to the upside if we get a nice breakout on that. Okay, so that's my plan this morning. All right, we'll see how it goes. Right now, we don't have a uptrend or a downtrend. We just got bullish 10-minute consolidation. So it's building out a launch pad. I'd be looking for this to launch higher this morning. If it fails, then you probably recognize they're going to come test the lows of the morning range. If the lows don't hold, well, then you know there's probably a good chance they're going to try to do the gap fill. All right? And don't forget to draw a trend line right through here. And it's quite possible this morning we test that trend line. Okay? Looking for a test of this trend line and look for a J hook off of it. So price goes up, J hooks off the trend line, and then back up to the top and then break out. So they may fail to break out here, come down, break the lows, hit the trend line, not even do the gap fill, and then rip in the other direction. We'll see what they do. All right, this morning. I got to tell you, with FNGU, not really recovering right now, does not look good. Okay, does not look good for the market. So, nice bull flag on SPY in the pre-market, but I got to tell you, pre-market for FNGU looks, with a lower high here, it looks lower. We'll see. They've got a higher low, and they failed to make a higher high. So this is the big caps. So it could go either way this morning. All right? Could go either way. All right, that's it for me this morning. I'll see you guys in about 45 minutes. Let me get this video out there, and we will kick off the markets and make some profits.